Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. That's Joe Smith, and this is Transfers Live. It is transfer season, and we are here with all the latest Manchester United transfer news, the ins and the outs, because there seems to be a lot of outs, Joes.
It's kicking
Joes,
off,
I don't know if pluralise your name.
Well, there's
Let's
outs
start again.
and there's Joes.
There's outs and there's Joes.
Kicking off at Man United.
It is kicking
Everyone's
off
on the
time.
chopping block.
Yeah, everyone.
Amorim's ruthless.
He is ruthless, isn't he? He's not messing about.
No.
He's like, if you don't want a beer, and even if you do want a beer, you're out.
Yeah.
He's doing it. He's
Even
going
if you
through
want
this
to be
squad
here.
like an absolute demon. So we'll be getting into all that. Before we do, though, make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel if you're not doing already. We want to get to 800,000 subscribers, and with your support, we can get there.
Yes.
What have we got first of all? What's the first story we're going to get our teeth into?
Let's start with this, almost so we can kind of get it out of the way. Marcus Rashford to AC
Oh,
Milan.
no, what are we, Marcus Rashford TV or what?
I know.
I'm sick of it, honestly. All I ever talk about is Marcus Rashford.
Sans sorrow.
Fine.
Was mine that one?
Was it?
Think
In that
so.
case, it's rubbish. I hate it. Get rid of
AC
it.
Milan are stepping up their interest in Marcus Rashford.
What,
Full stop.
Rashford could be leaving United?
Yeah, just
Really?
listen to this. Yeah, Rashford's
You are
brother.
joking.
Rashford's brother and agent, Dwayne Maynard, has been in the.
Is that one and the same person?
Interesting? I like to think that they're two different people, both called Dwayne Maynard. One's his brother, one's his agent, no relation. Has been in the Italian city to talk to the Italian city. Immediately, already one sentence in, we can't say Milan twice.
No.
Rashford's brother and agent Dwayne Maynard has been in the Italian city to talk to the club executives there about a potential deal. Oh, about what a potential deal could look like. Melissa Reddy from Sky Sports reports, now our colleagues at Sky in Italy have reported that Milan have made him their preferred target in this window. They want a loan with an option to buy. Manchester United would have to subsidise a large chunk of Rashford's salary in that instance. Meanwhile, Sky Germany report that a transfer to Borussia Dortmund is very unlikely. Juventus remain interested. Thoughts?
It makes sense.
Yep.
If he goes to Milan, good club, a lot of history. I think he could do well in Serie A if he turns up, if he's up for it.
Yeah.
I understand why they don't want to pay him the 300 odd K or whatever it is he's on. United will have to eat some of that. We knew that. I think we spoke to several journalists who've all said the same thing.
Yeah.
They see him going out on loan, but United are going to have to subsidise some of his wages. You can see there being a bit of a sticking point on how much United pay and how much the club that receive him pay.
Yeah.
But this is a move which makes a lot of sense and ticks a lot of boxes. It's like Rashford goes on loan, he can get going again. He obviously doesn't want to beat United. He said, I want a new challenge. The manager doesn't fancy him. He's not even in the squad anymore, which is ridiculous, but he isn't. So it's obviously not football related. It's obviously just like, look, when I say not football related, there's obviously more to it than just whether he's, good enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, get this done if they can. And the fact that his brother and his agent are in Milan makes me think
The fact that they're both there.
the fact that both, he sent his brother and he sent his agent as well.
His brother Dwayne Maynard and his agent
Dwayne Maynard.
But
Sent them both to the Italian city, as I like to call it.
Yeah. The eternal city is Rome. The
Italian city is Milan.
And always will be.
Yeah, to negotiate. Makes me think Marcus is up for it as well.
Yeah,
so he
me too.
fancies it. They want him. The club want him out the door. This should happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There were some reports earlier today about, I think it was Charlotte Dunker saying that so far an agreement hadn't been reached, or that there was a disagreement over the wages exactly, because I think their highest paid players are on around 150 grand a week. I'm not sure who that is, but obviously even 50% of Rashford's wages is there, or maybe slightly more than 150 grand a week. So there was a sticking point there. But if that can be ironed out, and also you're getting. Well, that's the problem, innit? They could be getting a problem, or they could be getting their new best player.
Yeah.
So I do understand why Milan would be like, he can't come in and be on the most money of anyone in the club, and then not get a game because these issues persist.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see. But I do think somehow we're going to come to an agreement here, whether it's Milan or not. It looks almost certain he's leaving in this window, which a couple of weeks ago, well, 3 weeks ago, if you'd have said that to me, I'd be completely stunned. Marcus Rashford will never play for Man United again and will be out in January. Whenever it was, just pre the Man City game, if you'd have told me that, I'd be absolutely like, I must have woken up in another world. And yet now it almost feels like I'm sick of talking about it. It's amazing how football can go, isn't it?
It is. I'm sick of talking it as well. I think we can safely say he's going somewhere. It doesn't seem like this is going to end with him staying at Manchester United. I know I think there was a tweet from Monstein the other day. He said it's still, not beyond the possibility that he does stay. It was plausible, is what he said. Same thing. That he stays at Man United. I don't see it happening. He's going to move. Milan's a big club. Yeah. Serie A is a league that I expect him, if he turns up, which is the big if, him to do well in. So it makes sense for everyone.
Yeah.
Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat in the comments and hit that like button. Please, people. Ross Murphy says he'll get on well with Abraham. Aaron M says Milan have a lot of players on their books and Italian clubs love a swap deal. Make something happen here. Yeah. I don't know if there's anyone they'd be willing to send us and who we'd want. I've not heard any. I mean, it's hard enough just getting this deal done. I don't know how a swap deal would look in terms of...
A swap loan deal's a bit
that seems a little bit too convoluted to even get my head around. Let's move on anyway.
Yes.
What next? Cash in on our hero. I love it. Good.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's good. Do you like it?
I came up with that one.
Did you?
Yeah. I thought...
did I say I liked it?
I didn't think...
Sorry, what I meant is I fucking hate it.
I didn't think you'd like it.
No, I do. I like it. It's simple.
Yeah, it works, and it sounds a bit like Casemiro.
Yeah. I get it. I don't need to explain it to me like I'm an idiot. All right? Cass and Namiro. I get it.
The Saudi Pro League is hopeful of signing Casemiro from Manchester United this month. Casemiro is very close to moving to Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Sovereign Fund have practically closed the transfer. The contract with Casemiro is agreed. The club he will join will be defined later. Don't worry about that. What do you mean, what club's he going to join? That will sort that when we need to. Get him on the plane, get him to Saudi Arabia, and wherever the driver fancies taking him, that's what fucking club he joins.
We are living in the absolute banter era of football.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine talking about one of the best defensive midfielders ever? Yeah. Like, literally someone who, for about 6 or 7 years, was unbelievable, and saying he's going to Saudi Arabia, he's going to a new club, and the club he's going to, we'll decide that later.
Yeah, I mean, all you need to know is he is moving.
We've narrowed it down to the country.
Yes.
Don't worry about the rest. Yes. We'll fill in the blanks.
We've narrowed it down to one of the largest peninsulas in the world.
Yeah.
Within that peninsula, who knows?
Do you think his contract has just got like his wages and all that on?
Yeah.
And then like the country, Saudi Arabia, and then he just signs it. And there's a big gap where his club's going to be. They said, don't worry about that. We'll sort that out later.
I'm sure that will get filled in at some point.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. You're just going to play like football in the late 1800s. He just plays a series of exhibitions for all of the teams. You play for them now, you play for these now, and they're a little bit short. Al Ittihad need a player. Do you want to join them?
I've got a cricket match, but then I'll play that.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, he just plays for Saudi
Arabia now. This makes as much sense as Marcus Rashford got to Milan.
Yeah.
Casemiro, now and again, right, you get a glimpse of the old Casemiro.
Yeah.
He'll do something on the ball, or he'll put a tackle in, and you'll think, that's the guy that I saw at Wembley. That's our hero that I saw at Wembley against Newcastle. That's the guy that we saw pretty much every week for Real Madrid. That's the one who we saw in his first season at Manchester United more often than not. But it's glimpses. And I'll also see a guy that slides in 10 seconds too soon, or who just can't get there. No. Who'll look at a ball and go, I ain't going to make that. Where in the past he'd have been there before you knew it. So, yeah, I think it makes sense. I don't see him going to another big European club. I don't think there's anyone like Milan who are coming in for him. If he wants big dough, and he's won a lot, and he's not like Marcus Rashford, who's probably still looking to win, arguably his biggest ever sort of medal. Yeah. Casemiro ain't gonna go and win another 5 Champions League somewhere. So,
like you said, he can't really run. He can't track his man. No. He likes to put a slide in more than a microbiologist.
Nice.
And it's
really good.
At this age,
really good. That really strong.
Thank you. At this age, he's just not quite got the legs.
Don't need a round of applause.
Well, it got one,
bit
didn't
OTT,
it? Whether it needs one or it didn't,
sucking up to the
proof
gaffer
is in the pudding, isn't it?
Oh, well, let's give you a round of applause.
Because maybe it did need one, as it turns out.
Is it pay-review time, is it? Oh, well. Right, go on.
It is, actually. Right, what have we got next? What have we got next? Cash in on our hero. Honey, I sold the kids. I like that. I quite like that. You're just worried in case I came up with it.
I'm not. I'm worried we've had it before.
Ethan.
What?
It wasn't even Ethan. I think it's good, that.
Okay.
Have we had it before?
I don't know. It seems familiar. Have we had it before? No. Right. I know you've come up with it tonight, and that's new, but is it accidentally? Right, okay, in that case, yeah, it's all right, it's good. Who came up with it?
But it's one of those things that it's so good that it feels like part of the furniture.
Yeah.
It's part of the fabric of the show, even if this is the first outing of it. I think that's quite impressive.
No, it's good, really good. Are you just outsourcing all the pubs?
You don't like it, do you?
No, do you know what's going on? What?
I've got a few in a row after this.
Oh, that's alright. Yeah, very good. See the little wink you give me?
Did they give you a wink?
Yeah, they put me single, and I've got a few in a row now.
Wow.
Well, he did a little wink, and then I went, what?
Big pressure on these next few. Let's get into this one.
Little wink and a nod.
David Ornstein reports that Manchester United would
Never heard of him,
reluctantly consider selling homegrown players. David Ornstein reports that Manchester United would, interesting, just feel like I've read that, reluctantly consider selling homegrown players.
What's David Ornstein saying?
He reports that Manchester United would reluctantly consider selling homegrown players, and David Ornstein reports that Manchester United would reluctantly consider selling homegrown players, and I think at the bottom there it says that David Ornstein reports that Manchester United would reluctantly consider selling homegrown players. Thoughts?
So what's Ornstein saying?
He's saying that, well, he's reporting that Manchester United would reluctantly consider selling homegrown players. Thoughts?
It feels a bit like Captain Obvious. Like, obviously we would. Do you know what I mean? Like, almost every player's got his price.
Yeah.
We're in the doghouse in terms of money and everything else, so, yeah, would reluctantly consider selling homegrown players.
What's that?
I think David Ornstein has said.
What did he say? Sorry, I missed that.
I think, according to what we've read, or what I've heard, is that United would reluctantly consider selling homegrown players. I think it's not Romano, it's the other kid.
Who's saying that?
Ornstein.
David
Ornstein.
And what's he saying?
He's saying that, you know, the homegrown players that United have got?
Yeah.
Well, the club would reluctantly agree on selling them.
They'd consider it.
They consider it.
Wow. And who's saying that again?
David Ornstein. So he's reporting.
This is entering Stuart Lee territory.
He's reporting that United,
isn't it?
I want to clarify this.
Yeah, go through this. Sorry. I must have missed this.
We like to be accurate here on Paddock, so I want to get this right. David Ornstein,
The journalist
from The Athletic, reports that...
In The Athletic?
He's in The Athletic, he writes for The Athletic. He reports that Manchester United,
The football club,
our club, would reluctantly...
with great remorse and
yeah, they're not keen.
Sure.
Yeah, they consider...
Which means sort of deliberate, analyse, think about
it's
an
it,
option.
Pondering it, selling, you know, to give away for money.
To exchange for goods or services, sure.
Homegrown, players that have come through the academy.
Through soil?
If you want.
Yep.
Players.
I don't know what that would mean.
Members of the squad.
Perfect.
Right.
So read that again.
So
No, we have to stop.
you have to stop because I'll go on all night.
I will as well. We've read this. It's been the news for the last 24 hours.
Fucking right, we have. We've just read it 15 times.
So we've been through
definitely
this,
read
Jay. We've seen this already. David Ornstein, I think, has reported this tonight. Well, it's, like you said, it does. At some point, everyone's got a fee.
Yeah.
Just like, I think if it was the truth that United were like going to teams, going, oh, we have Kobe Mainoo, come on, buy him off us, I would be furious.
You could put this about Manchester City a few years ago. Put this. You could put David Ornstein reports that Manchester United would reluctantly consider selling homegrown players and swap swap United for City.
Yeah.
You could have said that a few years ago, and everyone would go, that's bollocks. And a week later, they sold Cole Palmer. Yeah. Everyone's got a price. There's always City didn't want to sell him, but they couldn't keep hold of him. Yeah. So there's always a player. You know, Chelsea did it with Conor Gallagher. It happens. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have that fee where you go, actually, okay, this makes sense. And Garnacho is a player that, if the right fee came in for him, you could imagine the club going, all right, look, he's had a few issues with the manager. Maybe, and I love Alejandro Garnacho. I don't want us to sell him before anyone gets giddy. Maybe you could argue that he's not been as great the last season or so as he was when he initially burst onto the scene. Is there a price where you think this is worth a gamble? And I say gamble because it is a gamble letting him go. Yeah. This is worth it. So I get it. I just feel like I was chatting before to Harvey upstairs and we're saying like this whole story of Mainoo and Garnacho, it does feel a little bit like it's a non-story that's been made into a story. It's like, look, United aren't looking to sell anyone, but they consider offers for someone. Yeah. Even the likes of Kobe Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho, well, yeah, of course they would. Yeah. If someone like went off the deep end, and I don't know, Real Madrid went, Kobe Mainoo, he's the next superstar. We've got Bellingham, we've got Vinicius Jr., we've got Mbappe, we're going to get Trent Alexander-Arnold, we want Mainoo, we'll give you 200 million quid for him. Yeah. Then United, of course they would consider that. Yeah. Obviously. So I feel like it's a bit like slow news day. Let's say some obvious things, but if we repurpose it, we can make it into a headline. And I get it because it's words.
Do you know what it is as well? I
Jesus
think
knows what's in the table.
with the current kind of feeling around INEOS and Ratcliffe, it's like cost cutting at all measure, by any measure. Yeah. The idea of like we'll even sell children who like our own children, but it's like they're selling their own children, isn't it? That's how desperate for cash he is. He's selling his own fucking kids. That's like what it's become,
though.
And yeah, and it kind of plays into that Herod vibe that Ratcliffe's been pumping out for the last 6 months. So yeah, I do think that it's almost a perfect storm. Where it's like the one thing you don't do is sell young academy players at Man United if you don't need to, and Ratcliffe's so reckless, so ruthless, he's willing to do that.
This sent my group chats into overdrive last night. Mainoo thing, all my group chats were
Twitter was covered in it.
Can you believe this? Like obviously we'd had Laurie on the show. We spoke about it because he was part of the Ornstein article thing, or there was an article from Horncastle? What's his name? I think it's James Horncastle, isn't it? The other writer, and Laurie had written it with him, and there was a reference to it, and it was like. Everyone's like, surely Mainoo, surely not. Even Garnacho, I don't think he's quite as
because also revered, I think Garnacho doesn't have quite as obvious a spot in an Amorim system.
Yeah.
Mainoo, you put him next to Ugarte, and
he's just had one of his best. He's just had his best game under Ruben Amorim. Yeah. We've just got a very good draw at Anfield where we should have won really, and now you're saying we're going to sell him.
Yeah.
You're going to what? We're going to just get rid of him. Like it fits that narrative. Fred the Reds, MUFC News. Thank you for your super chat. T2 the Izzo says this is just a public contract negotiation, nothing to see here. Talk about I think Mainoo. He talk of him signing a new deal or negotiating for his contract. We've got something else on that, so let's move on.
Yeah, so the next Mainoo thing, Chelsea butter up the cob. The thing is, if we do sell him, there's only so many buttered up cob jokes we can make, and we might as well.
You could have done something here with Cobham. I feel like there's a.
Oh.
I think it's like, you know what I mean? Because it's like a training ground and Cobham makes sense. Cobham. Cob in it. Go on, read this out to me.
Chelsea.
David Ornstein reports.
Chelsea butter up the cob. Chelsea are leading the race to sign Mainoo in a sensational deal if the midfielder leaves Old Trafford. Here's something, and this isn't exclusive. This is my exclusive. If Chelsea sign Mainoo, it means he's left Old Trafford. Right? If he leaves, Chelsea might sign him. They can't sign him if he stays. I know I don't usually have exclusives, but I can guarantee that. He won't be a Chelsea player playing for Man United. United have reached a stalemate in contract talks with Mainoo's representatives, alerting Europe's top clubs to the fact he could be sold this month. What? Or, more likely, at the end of the season. Chelsea are ready to move for the 19-year-old if he cannot agree new terms, although he would face competition from Premier League rivals and clubs abroad. United remain hopeful a compromise can be reached, so they keep their homegrown star, who's valued at 65 million, don't know by who. Mainoo is almost halfway through a contract that ties him to United until June 2027, but he is believed to want a new deal worth around £200,000 a week.
Right, there's a lot to unpick here, and I like Chris Wheeler, we've had him on the channel, and he's a good guy, we chat to him quite a lot.
Yeah.
But this he could be sold this month.
Yeah.
Or more likely at the end of the season. I mean, this month, we're going to sell Mainoo in January. That is just ridiculous. There's no fucking way on God's green earth we're going to sell him the next 3 weeks. We're just not. Right, let's just be realistic. He could be sold. Yes, he could be sold this month. Just like the world could explode or aliens could invade. Yeah, it could happen, but it isn't going to.
The world could explode.
Well, potentially.
How would that happen?
Science. So obviously it could, but it's not going to, is it? We're not going to sell Mainoo in the next 3 weeks.
But the world might.
What?
So the world won't explode.
Probably not.
Even with science.
We'll probably be okay. Yeah. I tell you what, there's more chance of the world exploding than Mainoo leaving for Chelsea this month. Right. So there you go. Or at the end of the season. Again, unlikely.
What, the world's going to blow up at the end of the season?
If Liverpool win the league, hopefully. Also, he's valued at 65 million. What, really? Yeah. That's not true.
Would you take that from him?
No, fucking God, no. Gee, that's insane. Yeah. If you got more or less what you paid for Mason Mount for Mainoo, you have fucking lost the plot massively. Yeah. That would be outrageous. Now, I'm not criticising Chris Wheeler's journalism here. He might look at it and he goes, look, there's a fee there. What he's been told that maybe the club will be open to certain offers. I just do not see a scenario where United sell Kobbie Mainoo this month or even at the end of the season. And also, with the whole contract thing, he signed a deal until June 2027, and there's an option for another year on that as well. So it's not like there's a mad rush to sort this out.
No, he signed a new deal like last year.
Yeah, he's not fucking going anywhere if we don't tie him down.
No.
Like, we're fine. And also, he can't sign a pre-agreement with anyone, obviously. So it's not like he can go, right, well, I'm going to fucking sign a pre-agreement with Chelsea.
No.
So we're fine. Like, we can all chill out. And I get the impression, I'm not ICK, anyone who knows me knows I'm not, but from everything I've read and from what I've seen and heard and stuff, that there's this kind of feeling that this is all going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like, he's pretty happy at United. Well, he's happy at United. The manager likes him. The club want to keep him.
Yeah.
There's no reason to believe there's this panic that's being sort of reported as though if we don't sign a deal, if we don't give him 200k a week now, he's got a fucking Chelsea tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, get a grip.
Yeah.
He's just, he's not, is it? So
No, I just
think
don't,
we can all
see
chill
it
out.
at all. What people are saying?
Ice Trey says he signed a new deal for 20 grand. It's negotiation that could lead to an exit if they aren't on the same terms. Blank Frank says he's worth less than we paid for Anthony. Which Plank came up with that valuation? Sorry. Brian Casey says a good pun, but it could have been butter. Very good. Right. Should we move on?
Very nice. Douglas Luiz. Jeez Louise! Pretty straight down the line. That's a little old American game of baseball, that one, isn't it?
What?
Just reliable, nice, fun for all the family.
Yeah, it's decent. Jeez Louise. Yeah, I like it. Sound. What's this?
United are potentially looking at a deal to sign Douglas Luiz as a potential Kobbie Mainoo. Oh,
Jesus fucking wept. Not only is he sold, we've now got to get a replacement for him. It's all happened in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
We've sold him for 65 million quid and now we've got to buy someone to replace him.
Juventus
What is going
midfielder
on?
could be used as a make weight in a swap deal with the Reds. It's believed that the Turin club would allow Luiz to leave if it meant they could sign Xerxes from United. Hang on a sec. According to Gazzetta dello Sport, Juventus agreed personal terms with Joshua Xerxes. Where's the Mainoo in this? Oh, he's just a replacement, like he's not going the other way. Okay, there you go. So Xerxes going, Mainoo's going, and Jeez Louise is going to do the job of both of them. There you go. Thoughts? I mean, no offence to Gazzetta dello Sport, they have been utter garbage for about 20 years.
No offence, but I'm going to say the most offensive thing you can say about any publication.
Even back in the old sort of News Now days of the early 2000s, Gazzetta dello Sport were one of those publications where it's like, they must be good because they're like Italian and sort of foreign sounding. So they've always just pumped out sheer garbage. Yeah. So I'm not buying that for a second.
You're right. Gazzetta dello Sport sounds like they know what they're on about.
Yeah, it does.
With Italian news, you think, well, fucking hell, they're basically... Does Romano write for them?
Yeah,
I think
he must do. Yeah, surely.
I think he does. I think that's his paper.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if they must have some decent journalists. They've been a sports publication in Italy for forever, but down the years they've just pumped out some absolute tripe. So whether that's true or not, I'm not assuming that it is because of who's writing it. It could happen to be true. But, I'm not looking for them for the exclusive on anything. I don't see this happening. I don't really think he's what we need. I think he's more of a sort of Ugarte kind of character. I know he's not exactly the same, but I think I don't know, for me, it doesn't really work, this deal. And he's gone he was at Villa, wasn't he? And then he's gone there, not really getting games, not really happy with what's going on there. I just don't think it's that much of an upgrade. I mean, it's not an upgrade on Mainoo at all. I think for the money you'd have to pay, I don't see it being a good deal personally. And he's, I don't know. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I was just looking now. I forgot he was at Villa. I remember me giving him a load of shit because he used to play for City.
He's decent. He did well for them last season when they got top 4.
None of this, mate. I mean, the Xerxes to Juve, maybe.
Yeah, I get that.
Douglas Luiz coming in, and certainly as a Kobbie Mainoo replacement, absolute nonsense. Loads of people in the comments. LMP22KZ says, I just want to know what Ornstein said about homegrown players.
I don't think you said anything about homegrown players.
If we do any reports, we will give you an update on that.
Yeah, if he'd said that, we would have seen it, and we haven't. So, yeah, I don't know. Must be some sort of online digital rumours or something.
Ice Tray says, Motta's system is completely different. His level right now is an upgrade to Kobbie, guys. Let's be honest here. Well, I'm being honest, I don't agree with any of that. Fred the Red, MUFC News, says, breaking news, Mainoo is getting a new contract extension till 2027, and Ahmad gets a 4.5-year extension. It's all on my. Oh, I think he's saying it. I think he's trying to promote his own little thing here. We'll see what happens with that. Check that out.
I mean, he's already got a contract till 2027, hasn't he, Mainoo?
I think, yeah. So I don't know quite what that's all about. We'll see what happens. I don't see that happening. Go on then. What's this one?
What we got next? Hungry for Cherries. He's from Hungary and he plays for Bournemouth. The Cherries.
Yeah.
I think that's quite good.
Yeah, I like it.
I actually think that's good. That
it's very good.
You don't seem too keen on it though. The words you're saying are nice, but your body language and sort of face don't care. You know what I mean? You're not that into it, are you? What's holding you back?
It's just, it doesn't really make sense.
Why not?
Like, he's from Hungary and he plays for the Cherries.
Yeah.
So Hungary for Cherries.
Yeah, like he's played, like, so you got a Hungarian for the Cherries. Hungry for Cherries.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with us in United and buying him in that?
Cherries. Manchester United hold concrete interest. This is one of the most. So there's diamond interest, then there's like titanium interest, then it's tungsten interest, then it's one of those sort of epoxy resin interests, and then it's concrete interest. This is pretty good, Jay.
Is this like your second wedding anniversary?
Yeah.
Concrete.
So number 1 is paper, number 2 is concrete.
Yeah.
Number 3 I think is curtains, whatever material that is, no one knows. It just comes out of the ground. Manchester United hold concrete interest, this is so good, in Bournemouth star Milos Kerkez. This is according to Ben Jacobs, friend of the channel. Although we've not had him on in a while actually, have we?
Well, you want to rectify that, don't you, sunshine?
Yeah, I should get him on soon. Luring Kerkez away from the Cherries will be difficult this month. What is he? A panda in an enclosure with a big bowl of cherries? Come on.
Come on, Kerkez.
Kerkez, the giant panda, is
Right.
loving those.
Luring
He's not
Kerkez
bleeding, that's just
away from
cherry
the
juice on
cherries.
his white fur.
difficult
Luring
this
Kerkez
month.
away from the cherries. Fucking hell. Yeah, he's on the fruit aisle. We can't get him away. Yes, we've tried raw steak. He just loves cherries.
Is this what the Ben Jacobs write this?
Yes.
Is it verbatim? Bless him.
Luring
Do you reckon he's just
Kerkez.
had enough of writing football stories all day?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I need to fucking I need to do something else. I'm just gonna. Do you know what? I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna do something a little bit more flowery.
Yeah.
Luring Kerkez away from the Cherries this month.
Luring Kerkez away from the cherries, wasn't that collection of what was it called, pastel drawings that you did in your summer in the Algarve?
It was my summer in Pentonville,
Oh, that was
actually,
it.
but you're right. It was some pastel paintings.
They were really good there.
Yeah, they were.
Luring Kerkez away from the Cherries will be difficult this month, while they also have another big name left back on their shortlist. United are in a good position in the race for Kerkez, but sources have made it clear that he won't be an easy player to get this month. Bournemouth don't want to lose Kerkez mid-season and will demand a minimum of 40 million for the youngster this month. What do you make of Milos Kerkez as a footballer from what you've seen of him?
From what I've seen, I think he's very good. I think he'd fit in. I don't think we'll get him this window. I don't think we are going to lure him away from the Cherries this month. I don't know. I think the thing with this is, I think Kerkez is one of those who's obviously on a list. I think there's others as well. Is it the kid from Fulham as well?
Anthony Robinson. He's a lot older. I think Kerkez is 22, 23.
Yeah.
And Anthony Robinson's 27.
Yeah.
There's also, is it Patrick Dorgu as well?
Yeah, there's a few in there.
Yeah.
So I think in the summer we're going to sort of find out which one of the ones we've been linked with that is the preferred. Also as well, Nuno Mendes, is that?
Yeah.
Is that the other one?
PSG,
yeah. So I don't expect us to buy any of them or be surprised if we bought any of them in the January window, but in summer we'll see. He could be the guy. I don't know.
I think a loan should be something we really look at because we literally have no left wing backs at the club. Like Luke Shaw, I even think a fit Luke Shaw can't play that role anymore. I don't think he's got the legs. I think Luke Shaw is a centre back in this system.
That's a really good point.
Isn't a left wing back, and I'm not sure about his quality, and I feel like he might have lost a yard. And even if he hasn't, he's got a long way to come back in terms of freshness. We're playing a right back at left wing back at the minute, and if Dallo gets injured, what do we do?
Yeah,
Genuinely,
we're in all
what do we do?
sorts of trouble out
Martinez
there.
playing there, I mean that's no good. So I think personally, whether it's him or any of the names you've mentioned, Nuno Mendes maybe would be the most likely one to get on a loan with an option to buy. I think we need to do something in January because we need someone that can actually offer offensive threat consistently from the left hand side. Because at the moment it's just if Ahmad can't do it or Bruno can't do it, we don't really create any chances. And those wing backs are so crucial to do it in a three at the back system. We need people who are very good in the final third.
I agree. T to the Izzo says the other what, Jay? Racist. Not him, it's the other one.
Interesting. What we got next?
Diallo M for more deal. Is that a pun on Dial M for murder? What? Can you hear me? What? Yeah. It is?
It is, yeah.
Is it a pun on Dial M for murder?
Yeah.
Why won't you tell me that? Why you sort of saying it like you don't want to say it? You feel I don't like it? Diallo M for more deal. I mean, it is pretty shit, I'm not going to lie.
That's one of mine. Manchester United have agreed
really?
to...
I wondered how he knew Dial M for murder.
And said, I'm doing this because I know Jay will hate it.
I thought, when I said, I wonder why he's been so coy, and also I thought, he's never heard of the film Dial M for Murder. You will have, obviously. Yeah. You're a film buff, but I thought that was what threw me on that one. And the way he was so reluctant, because he went, yeah.
Yeah, that's me, that one. I only did that to annoy you. I hope it works. Manchester United have agreed terms on a new contract for Amad Diallo. The 22-year-old winger has signed a long-term extension. I don't really need to read this. The facts are, Amad Diallo signed a new deal. Which I
want to get your thoughts on this, because I feel like Amad Diallo this season's been on a journey, and you've been on it with him.
Yeah.
I feel there was the beginning of the season, people were going, probably deserves a chance, get him in the team, look, he's not really, he's one of the few attackers we've got who hasn't had the chance that he deserves, and when he's played he's done all right, but there was a bit, there's a few questions there. He came inside, he did quite well, but there was still a little bit of reluctance from some people who were like, the manager doesn't fancy him, there's something there, can you rely on him week in, week out? Then he went from that to becoming the guy that everyone fucking loves, and he's the answer to all our problems, and it's like, oh my God, Amad Diallo, without him the fucking club should fold. Then it was like, he's good, but he's probably not at the levels where you can rely on him all the time. He's not Cristiano Ronaldo in 2008, even though we had Rooney and Tevez then, but you get my point. Now it's like, he's one of the few players we've got who's very good, who we know is very good. Yeah. Let's, keep hold of him. Is that how you feel about him?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Like you said, at the start of the season, I wasn't sure, because I thought, my honest thinking was, if he was that good, he'd have played more.
You said Mainoo had this. The only time we've ever argued is a bit like that, but you, which is a fair point by you. My argument was, I felt he'd come in and he'd been, and it's not just him. It happens a lot. We paid a lot of money for him, which wasn't his fault, and it's like, well, if you paid 37 million quid for someone, he must be ready for the first team. He was a child. Yeah. He'd been in Italy for about, I don't know, 6 months or whatever it was, or no, a bit longer than that, obviously. But he played an hour of professional football, and I think he'd been sort of forced into this move, not forced, but into this move, and it's like, right, paid a load of money, and also he had a decent debut, and it's like, oh, he must be really ready. He was nowhere near ready. No, so I thought that was a bit, that was one of the reasons why he wasn't perhaps the 21-year-old where, he's been a 21-year-old professional football for 3 years now. Yeah. He should be in the United team by now. I think it was a slightly skewed.
It was an unusual situation.
Just because of the scenario.
A 22-year-old Amad Diallo to a 22-year-old, Jude Bellingham or Wayne Rooney. Yeah. The amount of minutes they've played, not just at the top level, the quality. Forget the quality of those players, but just the amount of involvement in professional sport they've had. Amad's is about a tenth of what they would have had. So he's almost like, I expect him to be one of those players that is playing until maybe his early to mid 30s rather than early 30s, because he's got so few minutes on the clock compared to most. Yeah. Like in the last 4 years, he's probably played about 100 games, which is so much fewer than the couple of players that I've mentioned.
I think it's a fair point as well, and people just forget how not playing that often and not playing that amount of games as well takes you a while, because you've gone from playing in the Championship to that 2 seasons ago to playing a handful of games the entire season to being in a situation now where he's almost playing every minute of every game.
He's our other than Bruno, he's our best attacker.
Yeah. So it's going to be it's going to take a little while until you can play week in, week out consistently. But I feel like he's getting there.
Fair play to him. And also, I think it's one of those, in it, where if he drops off and he gets out of the thing, you think, well, he only played about 10 good games and we give him a new contract. But on the other hand, if he carries on playing the way he looks like he's going to now, and we've signed him and got him on this deal quickly, we're probably paying him a lot less than what he looks like he might deserve if he carries on playing how he is. So yeah, fair play. Get him nailed down. Very promising. And ever since he's been given the chance, he's proven people like me wrong. And I'm so glad he has, because I absolutely love him and I think he's a brilliant player. So yeah, good stuff.
No, I think yeah, it's good to see him getting a deal, and hopefully we can give him some teammates that he needs as well, because I still worry about where goals are coming from this team, but that's another story. Joe, always a pleasure, never a chore. Go and check out Joe Smith at the Sloppy Joe's podcast. You know where to find that. Also, a big thank you to everyone who got involved in the chat and the comments. We're going to be back tomorrow morning with the news, and then we're going to have Off the Bar. It's going to be me, Joe, and Adam McCullough. Also, we've got other videos on the channel. Go and check out the chat that Joe had with Stephen Alston. Plus, you're going to be chatting to a good mate of ours tomorrow morning, aren't you, after the news?
Football finance expert Kieran Maguire.
Yeah, he's been
doing
good stuff on the overlap, but he's going to be chatting to Joe tomorrow, so make sure you check that out. That's been Joe Smith. I'm Jay Melly. This has been Transfers Live. Thanks for watching.